Even comparing photos from 2022 to now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a lot more slender. My
The
face is
glow up.
thinner. Yes, like people at the gym have noticed, like my body composition has changed. So it's been a complete, I guess, 180. So of course my husband noticed it, but I would
Sure.
definitely say the people at the gym
Yeah.
really notice like my body composition and how I have evened out, shaped out.
Sure.
Even actually my recent progress photos, I was like, oh my God, I am actually looking good still. Okay.
Yeah.
But just having the people at the gym say like, wow, you look amazing. Like I definitely
Yeah.
noticed like everything looks great. And it really gave me that confidence boost that yes, the work that or the plan that Dr. Nick has you have set out or planned out for me has does work.
So this is Shakis. She has been a client of mine now for quite some time. I'm super pleased and happy that all of you get to meet her as well. So Shakis, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Shakis. I live in Georgia and I've been a client of Dr. Nick, I think going about 2 years, and it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna delve into that today. And I appreciate your time. I genuinely appreciate you jumping on because a lot of people are not in the position that you are now in terms of after the change and after the transformation and after the learning, they're in a place very much before and wanting to kind of get a glimpse of what the process is like, what the experience is like. So I appreciate you giving your time to me today and to everybody else and putting us on game, Shakis. It's very much appreciated. So
Absolutely.
with that said, starting right the program with me, you were 176 pounds, 176.6 pounds, and you had a 34.3-inch waist. Now, right, most recently, when you got off my program, you are 150.5 pounds and then a 29.9-inch waist. So obviously, in that time, right, there was a whole bunch of change and a whole bunch of transition. But what I want to know to start things off is when we started working together, right, in terms of your habits and how you are feeling, um, share a little bit of that and then share a little bit of where you are now, comparing those two.
When I first, or I guess even before starting the program, a little bit about my background and just like my active lifestyle. So I started, of course, growing up doing dance and things like that. And then as I've gotten older, or even before like grad school, I was, doing occasional workouts. But it wasn't until I had lived in Savannah, I was doing CrossFit. I felt like, I was at a pretty good weight. Um, Eating paleo style. But then once I moved to where I'm currently at, and then COVID hit. So moving to where I'm currently at, there's like just nothing but restaurants galore. So I want to
Mhm.
try any and everything. But then also
Mhm.
COVID hit. So that meant I was working from home more. I wasn't getting that walking in and things like that. And I kind of just let myself go.
Mhm.
So it wasn't until 2022 when I went to an event and I had my friend take a picture of me. I looked at myself and I was like, oh my goodness, this is horrible. Like
Yeah,
like I didn't even recognize myself. And
sure.
that is when I hit that breaking point and I ultimately looked a little bit more into Dr. Nick because I was following him for a while or following you for a while.
Sure, sure.
And um I was like, okay, I need to make a change. And so I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead, sign up. I was very nervous.
Sure.
So I did that. And then fast forwarding to 2 years later, definitely seeing a huge difference. Like even comparing photos from 2022 to now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a lot more slender. My
The
face is
glow up.
thinner. Yes, like people at the gym have noticed like my body
Sure.
composition has changed. So it's been a complete, I guess, 180. It wasn't until I like really looked at a photo and I was like, oh my God,
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
is not like I didn't recognize myself.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. Okay. Well, I appreciate you speaking to where things are now as compared to then. But then one thing that we haven't addressed, and I'm very curious about, is kind of what has the change and the transformation done for you, and in terms of both your energy levels and in terms of being able to enjoy things that the things that you enjoy in life, right? Being able to partake in them and engage in them. How do you feel that the change has affected that?
I would say definitely for the better, like in a positive experience, my energy levels have definitely been a lot better. I feel like I'm able to still enjoy um like even certain meals that I thought I traditionally couldn't enjoy, like I can still enjoy them, but just in moderation. And
Sure.
also I can enjoy wearing clothes that I haven't worn in like 2, 3 years. Like things
Sure.
just fit a lot better.
Sure.
So definitely able to still fit in some clothes, though I don't have to like throw them to the wayside. But yes,
Sure.
overall
Sure.
energy levels have been great. I also feel like even like my workouts, as far as like chin-ups, I could never do chin-ups. And
Yeah.
now I just feel like they have like I've been progressing really well in that department, just
Yeah.
getting stronger.
Yeah. What you just mentioned was one thing many people don't think about, because you probably know this as well as I do, Shakis, but the average American actually gains multiple pounds per year as they get older and older. And then most people have the issue that you just said, right? They have all these clothing in their wardrobe that they're not able to wear anymore, right? So then they do one of two things. They either let those clothing accumulate, or they take them to Goodwill, right? They donate them to people who are in more dire need. But I think one thing that I have noticed myself, right, from when I was my heaviest before I, change things per the approach that I teach you. I noticed that, yeah, there was some clothing I couldn't wear. And then once I got back and kind of, maintained where I'm at now, I'm noticing, hey, I don't need to buy clothing anymore. I don't need to. I just feel that it saves you a lot of money, right? From not needing to continuously upgrade your wardrobe in size, and always being able to wear the things that you enjoy from the past, right? And basically have more variety to your attire. Do you agree with that or disagree?
No, I definitely agree. It has saved me money because I don't, first of all, I don't even like to buy. Like, I'd rather spend my money on other stuff like my health
Sure,
and wellness rather than
sure,
clothes,
sure,
especially since I work from home. So there's no
sure.
really big need for me to like have my, like, upgrade my wardrobe every,
Mhm,
I don't know, quarter. So it
mhm,
always does feel great to just have those clothes that I've had for years and they still
mhm.
fit
Yes.
perfectly.
Yeah, yeah. And being able to, like you said, right, being able to go back to your older clothing that you had 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm sure, putting them on, they fit better than they probably did in the past,
Yeah,
So
absolutely, for sure.
that that's awesome. So if you were let's say we were to snap our finger, right, and you were to uh, go back in time and talk to the version of Shakis just before you reached out to me, what advice would you give to her as she was starting out on that journey? And knowing what you know now, what advice about the journey and about kind of how you were feeling and how you address things, what advice would you give her?
I would tell her to go at your own pace. It's not a race, it's a marathon. So
Sure.
definitely continue to go at your own pace.
Mhm.
If you make mistakes, it's okay. The best thing is to start a new day, as you
Mhm.
have taught us. Like you have
Sure.
those bumps, we're all human. The
Sure.
next day is a new day to start over and to continue on that journey of making that progress.
Sure.
So yes, and to not
Sure.
be afraid of macros.
Mhm. And I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that you said what you just said, because that's something that I haven't just focused on teaching Shakis. I teach everybody, right? All of my clients. I notice that a lot of people have this very all or nothing mindset, where if they fall off the wagon one day, they're like, oh well, this isn't going to work. I'm
Mhm.
just going to let myself become unhealthy, become metabolically unwell. We don't have to be perfect. I am not perfect. There are days when I'm like, hey, I just wanted some cookies today. Just gonna go get some. I'm just gonna go get some cookies, right? But then, every day is a new day, right? You wake up and you have the opportunity to become that 1% better. And I think that when you consider what you did, right, that it is a marathon, it is not a sprint, it is not a week long endeavor, right? It is a marathon, it is a multi-week thing. When you consider it that way, then all of a sudden you realize, hey, you're allowed to mess up once or twice. You're not allowed to let that defeat your mindset and to
Mhm.
break you down and to not let you go forward. So this is a part of your mindset that you picked up. I notice that so many people don't necessarily understand the mindset aspect of transforming your health and your life for the better, right? They only think about, hey, get off my high blood pressure pills, my diabetes pills, get this weight off, get healthier. But oftentimes they don't realize that for that transition, that shift to happen, they need to think in a slightly different way, right? And that's part of the reason why I value coaching so much, because I get to have conversations like you and I have had many a times where I can start to affect how you think and then shift you towards another mindset. So what kind of how do you feel about that?
I would say it depends on where I'm at. So
Sure.
like what I mean by that is like I sometimes I can be hard on myself when it comes to my
Sure.
mindset. And I always, even though I'm thinking like I know tomorrow's a new day, I'll do
Yep.
better. But of
Mhm.
course, that temptation creeps in, especially when I'm on vacation. But then
Yeah.
once I'm like home, that
Yeah.
mindset stays consistent.
Yeah.
And I know like, okay, I know tomorrow's a new day. If I
Yep.
have a little red, like just a little piece of red velvet or something like that. Or
Right.
if it's like I'm celebrating my birthday, like
Sure.
I'm gonna enjoy this treat
Yep.
wholeheartedly, and then
Yeah.
tomorrow will be a new day.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. So,
Oh, I wanna say
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
one other comment, and it's
Sure.
just advice to like people who are starting, because I know there's a lot of people out there who like those like quick fix, like I want to lose 10 pounds in a week or 2 weeks. And that's why I said it is a marathon. So don't get discouraged if you notice like the changes is happening right away. Like
Mhm.
stick with it, continue
Mhm.
to listen to your teachings and your guidance, because
Mhm.
you will definitely see the change if you stick with it. Don't give up. But that probably
Absolutely.
would have should have probably fit in at the end, but
No, 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 no. I think that that's perfect the way you said it. I mean, I totally agree with you. So many people, and you've heard me say this to you, Shaki. So many people have a very quick fix mindset, not just towards this, but everything in life, right?
Mhm.
And the way I've gotten rid of that quick fix mindset is, even if something takes even if something, let's just say, I don't know. Okay, here's a really good example. Med school, right? Med school's 4 years, just med school, right? Not even residency training. And I remember even before med school, so many people were like, "Oh, how can you that's so long? How can you do that?" And my mindset towards it was those days are going to go by anyway, right? Those days and those weeks, it's not like, hey, it's not like, if I chose not to go to med school, I could just stop time and those 4 years wouldn't have gone by. They're going to go by anyway, right? So I think that, when people want to address things with a quick fix mindset, really the focus should be, is this going to solve my problem? Is this going to be a solution? Because if it's going to be a solution, even if it takes a little bit of time or more time than you would like, that time's going to go by anyway. So I love the way you said that, and I definitely agree. Could not agree more. Um, so my next question is, what were the biggest challenges that you faced, that you personally face in maintaining consistency with the new lifestyle habits that my approach and my plan kind of, pushed upon you, and those challenges that you faced, how did you find was best to overcome them?
So one of my challenges was figuring, I guess more so using the macros that you suggested and
Mm,
actually figuring out the amount of food I need to eat. So like measuring my food. That is
sure.
something I try to avoid. for
Sure.
years. Like, because I know,
Sure.
like, being in the CrossFit world, like, people were
Yep.
doing some of those macro programs, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. And so
Yeah.
I was definitely nervous, and it was definitely a challenge really trying to figure out how to use all those tools
Hmm.
to ensure that I'm getting the proper macros in. And the
Hmm.
way I overcame that was just with practice
Hmm.
and being consistent.
Hmm.
um I also did, like, I reached out to you for some
Yep.
assistance. I actually shared like a video with you because I was like, how do you use like one of the apps to like configure everything?
Yeah.
Because mainly for me, I like to cook my food from scratch. So that was like another challenge to go along with the understanding the macros and how to measure out everything.
Hmm.
So, but it just came time, like, with practice I was able
Yeah.
to overcome that challenge, and now it's I don't know, second nature. It's like going to the
Second nature.
restroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
something that's very easy to that I can easily do now. And I think another challenge is, I guess, trying to be consistent every single day, especially during those times when I'm like away on vacation, even though like vacation is a time for you to just hang out and things like that. So I try not to stress it too much. But I think that it's still a challenge, honestly.
Sure.
But I try my best
Sure.
to
Sure.
overcome it and
Sure.
just not really stress out about it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think consistency is something that can be a challenge for a lot of people, which is why personally, one of the things I learned from you, because if you remember when you started, Shakis, we did not have accountability groups. We did not have
Right.
a community, right? So I, as I said, right, I learned a lot from you. And one of the many things that I learned and one of the many things I implemented was, hey, what could I do to help people be more consistent with whatever the action, whether it's macronutrients or any of the other many actions. I think that one of the things you can do is put people within a community of other people who are doing the very same thing. Um, that's just one thing.
Yeah.
But it's funny what you mentioned initially. I didn't want to answer for you, and I'm glad that you said it also. But I definitely feel that our interaction. I remember when we started, right? You had a lot of wasn't even anxiety. I wouldn't say it was anxiety. It was it was a little bit of confusion. It was like, hey, Nick, how do I do this? And hey, obviously, you reach out to me and I helped you. But yeah, I noticed that transition in you, right? Somebody who went from, hey, I don't know how to, measure macronutrients, how to determine the energetic constituents of my food, to now, like, that you're a
Yeah.
master at that, right? That was way
Hmm.
back in the past. But I definitely remember, yeah, for you, that was the initial challenge. And, I think like any other challenge, right? You need to face it head on, like you did, conquer
Yeah.
it. And then now you have a resource in your mind, right? You have an ability, you have a skill to do this for the rest of your life, and I think that's pivotal. So
Yeah.
awesome. So how would you say, Shakis, that your daily routine and your overall lifestyle changed compared to before we started working together, right? If you were to like snap your finger and compare your current daily routine compared to 3 years ago, before you even met me, right? When things were slowly getting worse and worse, how would you say overall your lifestyle has changed?
I feel like I'm more active.
Hmm.
So I because it was during COVID, I was literally just doing my own workouts and it just wasn't working out for me. And then
Hmm.
2022 is when I started working out with a trainer.
Hmm.
And that was only like 2 times a week. But then
Hmm.
after that, after like talking with you, you said
Hmm.
like, hey, you should include some like conditioning workouts. So I've
Hmm.
included that. So now I'm
Hmm.
working out 3 times a week. And then I also incorporated like yoga and some
Hmm.
cardio and things like that. So I feel like
Hmm.
I've definitely been like way more active than I
Hmm.
am.
Hmm.
Um, my sleep has gotten better. I mean, of course,
Sure.
occasionally there are times when
Yeah,
I
for
don't
everybody, for
always,
for everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I definitely feel like my sleep has been better for sure. And
Mhm.
just like I, I guess like the meal, I mean, I've always cooked pretty healthy meals, like things with low sugar. So I feel like that's also, I feel like I've been consistent with that. But
Mhm.
overall, definitely like I've increased like being more active.
Got it. Got it. Awesome. Thank you for that. How would you say that, my support and my guidance over the time that we've worked together, helped you achieve, your overall goals, right? Your goal of your goal that you sought after, after me for my help for. How would you say that my support and guidance has helped that?
I would definitely say significantly because I love the fact that you provide, like, I had direct access to you. So whenever I
Sure.
had a question about something um that was related to like my programming, you were
Mhm.
always there to provide some insight or even some products for me to try out.
Sure.
Like from working out and things like that. So I definitely
Yep.
say significantly just having that direct access to you was very helpful and very necessary.
Yeah.
Because I would not be able to do or get to the goal that I'm at if it wasn't
Mhm.
for me having that direct communication with you. I would have been
Absolutely.
lost.
And it's funny that you said this wasn't even a question that I had planned to ask you, but it's funny that you say that because a lot of people, Shakis, genuinely feel like if you just give them a plan and just leave them alone, they will be able to conquer it. And I think that the problem with those people is they are considering their motivation in that moment. As we sit here, I could be super motivated to do something.
Mhm,
But I think that when you then think about what we talked about earlier, the fact that this is not a sprint, this is a marathon, that motivation will do this, right? It will wax and wane over time. And there is, when you have the support where you can just reach out directly to somebody who's in your corner, and you can ask them questions, and they will mitigate your fears and your concerns and give you good suggestions. I personally, I think that a plan is nothing without a methodology to sustain that plan over the long term, and
mhm.
that's what I'm hoping my coaching was for you, right? And
Yeah.
that support and accountability. Well, another thing I'm curious about is, exactly what we just talked about, the structure in the plan. So from your perspective, Shakis, how important was having a structured plan and clear goals in your success?
Very important. And it could be because of my background in education and creating
Mhm.
courses, like we have to have like overall learning objectives, goals, and things like that, milestones, all
Mhm.
those things. And so I work best when I have a clear outcome, like this is where I want to end up, and then having those checkpoints or those milestones definitely helps me because I can like check it off like, okay, yes, I did this. And
Sure,
like so
sure,
it helped me in the
sure.
process. I love structure. If it
Yeah,
was not structured, it would definitely be a very frustrating process. So
yeah,
I
and I
appreciate the
think
structure.
And I think structure, when you are, not only structure, but structure accompanied by, you look at your progress and you can see consistent progress,
Yeah.
right? For example, you were consistent with taking progress pictures, and with progress pictures, you could consistently see improvement. And I'm sure, even in your personal life, could you speak to were there people, whether your husband or friends and family, who are noticing your changes and speaking on them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So of course my husband noticed it, but I would
Sure.
definitely say the people at the gym
Yeah.
really noticed like my body composition and how I have like, evened out, shaped out. And honestly, I didn't even notice because I see myself every day. So even
Sure.
with the
Sure.
progress photos, I'm like,
Sure.
even actually my recent progress photos, I was like, oh my God, I am actually looking good still. Okay.
Yeah.
But just having the people at the gym say like, "Wow, you look amazing." Like I definitely
Yeah.
noticed like everything looks great, and it really gave me that confidence boost that yes, the work that or the plan that Dr. Nick has you have set out or planned
Sure.
out for me has does work.
Sure, sure. And you know what, Shakis, that's not just on you. That's on me too. I think what I've noticed myself is it's very difficult to notice changes because you hit the nail on the head. You see yourself every day, right? So those little changes, right? They're registering in your brain, and then your brain is changing its own perception of you visually. So the people who tend to notice the biggest difference are people who haven't seen you in like 2 or 3 months, and then they see you and they're like, who are you? What have you been doing?" Right? So yeah,
Yeah.
that's incredible. Awesome. Okay, so that wraps it up. My last question for you is, what advice would you have for people who are looking to either improve their health, right, and get off medications for diabetes or for high blood pressure or high cholesterol, or improve their self-image and get to a place where they're happier with how they look?
So the advice I would give anyone would be to invest in your health. Like that's where I feel like you should always put your money in health.
Sure.
Because like that's all you have. If you want to be able to like continue to do the things you enjoy, whether that's playing with your
Yep.
grandkids, going to the
Yep.
gym, going for a walk, whatever you enjoy doing,
Mhm.
you won't be able to do that if your health is declining. So definitely
Absolutely.
invest in your health. And don't be afraid, like take that leap, sign up. Um, because you will not regret it. It's going to be the best decision. Then to also, once you sign up, just make sure you're listening to the advice that Dr. Nick is giving.
Sure, sure, sure,
Yeah,
sure,
don't be stubborn. Like just listen, like he is the expert. So
sure.
he's not going to steer you wrong.
Lastly, I appreciate you for taking the time today to not just speak with me and have this one-on-one, because I always love it, speaking with you and talking with you. But also, there are a lot of people who are now in the position that you used to be. And
Mhm.
you are, going to help, innumerable amounts of them. So I appreciate your time, Shakis, and getting on to talk with us today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.